back down. But I mean, this is a game as it appears. So as you can see, 9x9 grid, 9x9, 3x3 grid. Playing your cards on there. This is just a demo of the combat section of it. However, it's a lot more involved. It's a lot more involved than this as far as the game as a whole is concerned. So I'll tell you what we should do. First and foremost, hey Chibi, how you doing, mate? How are you doing? Let me post in the Kickstarter because you guys need to be getting on this. I want this to make it on Kickstarter because I want to play this game. I want to play this game. How's this transfer doing? 2 minutes remaining still. Skype's so slow on transfers, it's actually unreal. It's a little ridiculous. So just gonna wait for that to wander through. But in the meanwhile, please do. I'll tell you what. Let's pop that out. Pop that over there. What we're gonna do? We're gonna have a look through their Kickstarter page while we're here. So add window capture. Boom. So let's have a look through this page. I'll just overlay it on top of my face for the meanwhile, because we don't need to see this. So these guys are well on the way. They are well on the way here. You just bought your PC equipment. Put your next donation towards it. Awesome, awesome. That's good to hear, Chibi. You know, these guys are doing very well on their Kickstarter. So well. I can't even speak English anymore, man. That's what happens when you're ill. And they're doing very well on their Kickstarter so far. I mean, I don't know what that is percentage-wise. That's a good chunk of money heading towards it already. And to be honest, 30k in UK money is a respectable amount of money to be considering. But 426 backers as well. You can tell there's a lot of interest in this. But they are only 7 days away from the end date on this, so it's getting close, it's getting tight. But this needs to be made. So I mean, yeah, fucking hell, it's staff pick, wasn't it? At 20k, yes. A few days ago in when we were at Eurogamer still, it was at 20k when we first learned about it. It was 21k, I think, 21, 22, something like that. So it's picked up some steam from Eurogamer, which is awesome. But we need to support it as much as we can from our side as well. You know, this is something that we've got the power to control. We've got the power to make this happen for these guys. I talked to them whilst having a cigarette break, actually, outside of the convention center, and it's a really, really awesome bunch of people. Really, really keen. Really, really dedicated to their cause. So the reason for them asking for the funding for this is because they're actually going after quite a big undertaking. They're going to bring it out across mobile, tablets, and all desktop operating systems. So it's not just for PC. It's not just for PC and Mac. They're also covering Linux as well. There is a demo within it, which is going to be similar to the one that I'm showing you, but the one that I'm being sent is apparently a later build. It's got some more of the bugs ironed out, and I have just received that now. So let me push this. Let me pull this one open. See if there's anything different here. See what we're looking at. Right. Okay. So I'm just gonna have that open, ready, and waiting. Oh, I should probably close one off version of it. No. Right, hang on. Let me reopen these. But anyway, let me keep talking through. So one of the things that you can really tell as well is the art style in this game. It's awesome. It's really, really nice. It's a really, really good looking game. So that alone, I mean, the design on the cards is pretty nifty. They're already on the greenlight process on Steam, so they should be pushed straight through onto that. Some of the big names as well that have looked at them. It's quite impressive, you know. They've already been looked at by some of the larger guys, which again kind of adds creed to the support that they've got. It's just pushing them over the edge. But what I'm going to do is get the guys online. I'm going to get the guys to come in and have a little bit of a chat. Let us know a little bit more about what they're up to, what they're about. You know, some of their thoughts and driving ambition behind what they're doing and their inspirations and so forth. So I'm just going to give them a ring now and we'll have them online. So here we go. Sorry for the incredibly loud ringing noises that are going to occur. Hello, hello, hello.
Hey.
Hey, hello.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Yeah, not too bad. Good.
Good, good. I'm really hoping that you guys haven't caught my Eurogamer plague, because as you may be able to tell, it's still very much alive and with me at the moment. It's been a battle, but because I know Petros was suffering a bit with it when I was speaking to him on the Sunday, so
Yeah, I think John sort of had caught a little bit.
yes.
I'm ill, he's ill, you're ill. David's the only one.
That's
Yeah.
it. Well, that's it. I'll make sure to cough in your general direction so you don't get left out. You know, it's
Yeah.
only fair. Only fair. Um, so yeah, I don't know how I managed to miss you guys. I for the first couple of days of the expo, um, we were literally the other side as Beyond Flesh and Blood. They dragged us over for an interview on the Thursday, literally the other side from where you are, and yeah, I'm not sure how I managed to not bump into you guys. It was only through the sheer luck of striking up conversation in the smoking area that we got anywhere. Speaking of which, I suppose I probably should light one up. It makes sense, right? As is tradition when speaking about this game. Don't smoke, kids. It's bad for you.
Yeah. By the way, what's that? Is that feedback in the background, or is that? Cause I can hear like some other
Some
voice.
TV or something.
TV or something. That's typically not from me. I don't usually have too much feedback.
Me.
I'm not taking the blame on this one. It's nothing to do with me. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure the delightful folks in the chat will soon berate me for it if it's on my
Oh
side.
right, okay, it was me. I was playing your stream.
Ah, there you go. It's like did you never call into radio shows when you were a kid, right? You know, like
Yeah,
you always
yeah.
got told to turn off the radio.
Yeah, I remember.
That's it. So again, I'm not taking any of the blame for that. Right. So, how have you guys been finding the whole Kickstarter process? Because there were a lot of Kickstarter games on the floor this time round, and I can see you guys have been doing pretty well with it so far. I mean, over 30k raised towards your goal of 50k, but I've heard it's very stressful. Have you really been feeling that?
um,
Is that a maybe?
It's an
pretty much.
understatement, mate.
It's
It's I don't know. I think we each have an input to this, but personally, yeah, it's been hard work. You know, like this. You know, launching on Kickstarter is not like an easy sort of walk in the park type of thing.
Yeah,
It really requires your full attention.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
basically like another job. And I don't know if you know, but we're all working around day jobs, so having to sort of manage two things, like which
Yeah,
deserve your full-time attention, is definitely difficult.
yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I've been down that road myself, so I can well not down the Kickstarter side, but you know, running two things simultaneously. So I can certainly feel you on that one. But you know,
It's been good as well, though. I mean, we've had because of Kickstarter, we've got a lot of a lot of exposure.
Of
And
course.
you know, a lot of people have been giving us feedback through Kickstarter, and which has been very, very helpful. You know, and and I think it's a good learning experience. I mean, when we first started, I think the general assumption, or the hope rather, was for us to just put our Kickstarter project on there and just sit back and, you know, let the backers and the money roll in. But it hasn't. It
Yeah.
hasn't been the case at all. I mean, like David said, it's been a it's been like another full-time job. Like we thought it was difficult running up to the Kickstarter, getting everything
Yeah.
prepared, you know, contacting as much press as possible, like sorting out our social media. But as soon as the Kickstarter launched, it just sort of sent like it raised it up another level.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. As John said, obviously it is hard work, but at the same time, the benefits that you get from it, you know, being able to get feedback from people and just having that direct sort of dialogue with them, and you know, I think it's also forced us to do a lot of other things, you know, like wanting to go to an event like EGX and prepare the demo for that event, and just you know, getting even more feedback from that. So it's definitely like it's been hard work, but at the same time, it's provided a lot of like benefits.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, the feedback must be invaluable at what seems to be a reasonably early stage in development. I know the only part that you've got in the build so far is the combat system, which you know is fantastic. But I'm assuming you're fairly early on in the actual dev process, or is there some parts done-ish but not ready for consumption yet? What sort of level are we at?
Yeah, well, to be honest, yeah, as you said, I think the demo that we created, we just wanted to sort of allow people to get their feet wet, you know, like learn the basic mechanics and things like that. There's still quite a lot to do. I mean, obviously, there's some parts which weren't ready for demoing, like this. I'm doing a lot of the back end stuff, sort of like the large MMO aspects of the game. And you know, we did have like the character creation stuff, which we were trying to get out for a demo, but it just wasn't done in time, and we didn't want to. That wasn't ready for any sort of demonstration, so we had to sort of set that back. But yeah, there's still a lot of work to do, but we're making good progress. Yeah, I don't know. What would you say, John?
I mean, we're only a three-man team as well. It's very difficult. Like we sort of halted all progress for developing the game to focus everything on Kickstarter at the moment. So as soon as Kickstarter's done, then we're gonna go full steam ahead on the game again.
Yeah, so yeah, and that makes sense. You know, you've only got so much time and so much sort of energy to run one thing at a time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that. So I mean, without kind of being too obvious about it, I know we spoke on the show floor about some of the influence. Obviously, Triple Triad Final Fantasy VIII is in there to quite a strong degree, but as far as the other aspects of the game, you know, the actual MMO side of it, and you've got like the crafting of the cards and all of that sort of business in there as well. Where were your inspirations coming from that side?
Go on, you go.
I was just gonna say, like, we gain inspiration from everywhere. Like, all three of us each have our own sort of favorite games. I mean, we all grew up with the Final Fantasy series, as you mentioned, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, especially are two of our favorite ones when we were growing up. That's where we got the Triple Triad element from, and then we've got a little bit of Pokemon in there as well, like the whole thing about exploring an open virtual world and gathering monsters to battle against your opponents is very much sort of what we've taken from that. But instead of Pokemon, you've got your cards and you collect a deck. It's the same with Zelda as well, like that sort of exploring, going into dungeons, fighting enemies, going up against the boss. That's all very much in there too.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome. And I suppose the other part as well is the art style. I mean, it's very unique. It's very outstanding from well, certainly from like the TCG sort of genre, that, you know, the card game genre as a whole. They're very unique. They're very, I don't know, like distinct from anything else. Is there any way you've drawn from to get that, or is that just something of your own creation? Where did that all come from?
I wish the our other partner Petros was here. We sort of I collaborate with him to originally to come up with the art style of the cards, and that whole process originally we looked at a whole bunch of different inspirations, such as stained glass windows from church buildings, to Gothic art, to Greek pottery art. We really wanted to have that sense of rich history in our art style, which is why we each card was meant to have its own story.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's where we got our inspiration from.
Yeah, and the thing is that with the designs, you know, you notice that every card has a particular color that it uses or a style.
Yeah.
You know, this the game is like very is heavily story driven. And what we do is we usually let the story drive the design. So if we have an idea for like a potential character in the plot, we'll usually I'll write up the story, and then I'll look it over with the guys, and we'll then start thinking about, okay, what role does that character play in the story, and, you know, where do they fit. Then we start looking at the sort of different divisions, and then it sort of goes from there. You know, we look, okay, cool, how should it look like, you know, how is their personality, and then once that's sort of the gist of how characters is created in the game, and then the design comes in afterwards. But when we're creating new divisions, that's a whole different step. I think we, as John said, take inspiration from a number of different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's one of the main driving aspects of the game. If I'm not sort of reading the literature wrong. So you've got the different divisions that you can belong to as part of the game, like your different sort of tribes, or, you know, whatever other way you want to try and bring that across into the same sort of aspect in other games. But so is that going to be kind of division versus division, or is that just going to define the sort of set abilities or the set card types that you get? How is that going to interact in the game?
Well, it affects a number of different things. So the idea is, first of all, like a division is a grouping of different cards, but each one has a heavy link to the story. So like the big three, which are the Aeterna division, Ixion, and Wilkos, those are actually the main empires in the story.
Okay.
And they're the empires who have pioneered sort of like their own type of alchemy, which is your sort of, you know, in other RPGs which use magic as the main system. You know, in Eminence we use alchemy instead of magic.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So in terms of when you pledge allegiance, every division have their own goals and motivations around sort of the main plot of the game, and your duty as the player, your objective is to essentially end the cycle of, you know, death and rebirth of the planet. Finally, you know, there is a power to do so, but this power has caused possession of this power has caused a lot of conflict between all these different empires and divisions. You know, everyone has their own sort of agenda of what they want to do with it. So you, as a player, you can, based on the story and the way you progress, you can choose to pledge to which division, you know, which view or ideology you support. And that's part of the sort of like your journey in the game is, you know, we question your morality. You know, do you feel like the planet should just accept its fate in the natural order of life, or do you think it should survive? And that's how it's sort of tied in. And how it actually affects your character, I mean, John can probably explain that. Down to the way it affects, it's basically your characteristics. You know, these are things like your RPG stats, you know, your HP, your alchemy abilities.
Awesome. So yeah, so it really does sort of spread across a lot more far-reaching than you would necessarily expect straight on the surface, which is again very interesting to see. So yeah, I'm liking the sound of that, and that's one of the things that I should really put across to those watching this is this is a very straightforward or a very sort of simplistic demonstration of the game and the ability to play around with it. That there is a hell of a lot more to this game than you're able to see here, because this is a limited alpha demo as it is. There is a lot more to see and a lot more to do with this game. Again, as I've linked a moment ago, have a scroll down through that Kickstarter page, because there's a lot of GIFs and pictures and showing of different aspects of the game there, which will tie into what we've just been discussing there a little more, which is awesome. So, as far as your plans for further into the game, or not further into the game, further into the project, should I say? I suppose. When let's just say our wonderful people will throw money at you like mad, and you're funded tomorrow. What is your sort of cycle looking like? How much time do you think you're going to need, or how much time are you going to take to kind of get version 1.0 up and ready for everyone to play around with?
I think, as you say, if we just woke up tomorrow morning and we just was, overfunded, I'd probably just run around naked in celebration.
Okay, and once we've managed to strap you down and get the clothes back on, where would we be looking at going?
Okay, yeah. Then, so basically, the way we've got it down, the roadmap is we're looking at, if everything goes well, we're looking at a beta release next year around summertime. But we've sort of broken it down to working on a specific feature before reaching version 1. So there are some core features which we want to get into version 1, and these are to make up the base game. So these are things like obviously the initial 4 explorable zones, the initial 4 divisions available, building out the PvP aspect of the game as well, and also the guild systems. We want to get that into version 1. And the way we do it, we just do different sprints on those features, and once we work on an initial sort of an MVP of those features, we'll get that into version 1. And there's a bunch of other things which we put in the backlog, which we don't want to be in version 1, of course. So these are sort of like future updates which may come into additional patches after version 1.
Gotcha. So a good decent base game to get the ball rolling, so to speak, and then from there on out you're going to be sort of making your updates. And one of the questions that I should probably answer on your behalf in the chat there, if I just pop up the old Kickstarter page back again, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're looking to be releasing, initially at least, across desktop platforms. You're currently in the greenlight process for Steam, but you're looking to cover all 3 major operating systems as well, which is something that not that many people aim to do. They always sort of aim to just go for the Windows, maybe Mac if they must, but also covering Linux as well, which is a nice step.
Yeah. I mean, initially, as you said, we were aiming for smartphones and tablets, sort of iOS and Android, but we realized since getting this running, there's been a very strong sort of demand for PC. So fortunately, I mean, the engine that we're using Unity, and that helps with doing cross-platform ports. The only sort of challenge that we've had is, obviously, initially, as we were aiming for smartphones and tablets, we designed the experience as such to match those devices. But so what we had to do is rethink the game experience to fit the bigger devices.
Yeah, of
Obviously,
course.
there's a lot of things that are different. There's such, on the smaller devices, they mainly use touch-based interaction, whereas the larger devices you have sort of either a mouse or I don't know a controller in the case of consoles. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
And I suppose as well with like mobile devices as well, you've got the issue of, I mean, certainly with Android, I know you'd have the issue of you need basically every single device under the sun for bug testing
yeah,
purposes and
yeah,
God knows what else as well. Even with iOS now, I mean, you've got all the different screen sizes to be playing around with, and they certainly aren't cheap on their own part either. So yeah,
yeah.
slightly unenviable. At least you can kind of get a rough idea with PC parts and so forth. So that's quite useful. Um, okay, the other thing that I was going to ask as well is about your soundtrack as well. So this has all been crafted specifically for the game. It's been made to sort of match the mood of the game and to match the feel of the game as well. And was that something that was created in house, or did you get that's sent out to someone else to complete for you, or?
Do you know what? I'm wondering if I can actually get our composer to jump on. We're working with a composer called Nicholas Differan,
Okay.
and awesome. He's actually available. Can I bring him in?
Yeah, feel free, drag him in.
To an interview. Cool. 1 second.
It's all part of fun. Like I was before I had you guys in, I was like, all the fun of preparation. So I was actually casting some Hyrule Warriors before we were away and going here, and I was like, oh yeah, there's a new build for me to download. Oh shit, But hey, who needs preparation, right? So while we wait for Nicholas there, I suppose we can kind of have a bit of a scroll through here and take a quick look. That was another thing I was going to mention as well. A little unlike the triple triad functionality from Final Fantasy VIII, you're going to offer the ability to lock and unlock your cards for battling with, because as it stands by standard, I believe it will be, you beat another player in the real world, you get to take one of their cards as a reward, so to speak. Whereas you're going to give the option for people not to have to do that. Is that right?
Yeah. So, John, do you want to maybe talk a bit about that? And
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best ways to experience this game is to obviously have that mode on, and as that level of competitivism and
Yeah.
competitiveness and the adrenaline rush of winning someone's card is obviously a big part of the game. But then again, there are other players that they're just starting the game. They may not be as confident, and they don't want to take that risk of losing their cards, and that's up to them. But there are obviously there are other cards, special cards that we're giving away on the Kickstarter campaign. That if you do have those cards, they are actually not. You can't actually steal those cards.
Uh-huh.
So there are those sort of special cards in the game as well.
yeah.
Okay.
So I was just going to add one more thing to that. I think, as John pointed out, we want to literally sort of bring back those schoolyard days of just playing for keeps, rough it out in the playground and, just play with your friends and, take each other's cards and stuff. But so at the moment, what we're looking at is the ranked PvP system uses that rule. But if you don't want to take the risk, if you want to just not engage in that, then you can turn that rule off and sort of have friendly games with others as well, and just hone your skills and practice. But bigger rewards, bigger risks.
Yeah,
Absolutely, it makes sense. And I believe we now have Nicholas with us.
I'm here, yeah.
Lurking in the background there, very patiently waiting to speak. I love it.
Hey,
So hi. So I was just mentioning to these guys about the actual soundtrack itself on the game, and how it's been crafted specifically for the game, and how it really kind of fits the mood and so forth. And I believe you're the man to be asking about that. So what was your kind of development process? Well, it's not exactly development process, I suppose, a composition process. I'm not sure.
Okay, so first, I'm very sorry about my French accent. I hope I hope I'm going to be understandable.
No, absolutely. You're not the first guy from the other side of the gap that we've had on the cast before. So that's
Okay,
fine.
great. So the cool thing with Eminence is that there is a lot of different places in the game, and different landscape and scenery. So I can easily mix the traditional cinematic music, orchestral music, with a lot of different influences like Asian culture, futuristic sounds like electronic glitches and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this is very interesting to do, actually, to be able to mix all those influences together and keeping the soundtrack homogeneous.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my first like. This is what I think of when I compose, is to always look for what makes that particular place special and take the influence and mix it with the traditional orchestral music.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is really a case for you to find something that fits the scene, because I know some composers do take the process of just making a soundtrack and it fits in wherever it fits in. They kind of have their own idea of how the game's going to sound before it's even made, which has always seemed a strange concept to me. But I assume you're working quite closely with the guys to ensure that sound and the feel of the game matches very closely to the music you're composing.
Absolutely. And I find the graphics in Eminence very, very beautiful. So I think that's very important to have the soundtrack to fit perfectly with those really nice graphics.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to point out as well, to those watching, that they are actually 5 of the tracks that are currently available are available to listen to on SoundCloud there at the moment. So if you want to get a bit of a feel of, or more of a feel of the game ahead of time, give those a listen by all means, because as I say, that and I must congratulate you. The music is fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Far. I mean, the rest of the guys, the rest of the game not so much, but I'm getting this for the music, clearly. But no, yeah, it does seem to suit the game fantastically well. So
thank you very much.
Yeah,
it's funny, just to add something in there. It's a funny story. The music, as you said, music was so important for us for this game. I mean, we before Nicholas sort of started doing the composing for it, we were almost about to kill each other because we had such different views on this. We were going back and forth trying to find the right, because we were mixing in so many different sort of cultures and themes. We were trying to find the right balance of music. And when I was first sort of speaking with Nicholas about the music, I remember just swinging him some examples of what we liked, and he cooked up like this initial track, and as soon as he did that, it was like he just understood it completely, and we all liked it. We were all in an agreement for the first time. So it was just
helps.
Yeah, it was quite cool. It was in that sense that he just literally had the perfect feel for it, and we just sort of let him roll with it.
Yeah, that's if something fits, it fits, right? You can kind of get that feel. And to dip away briefly from the music for a second, there's been a couple of questions that have been thrown out by the crowd, the low class rabble in the chat there. One of our guys, who I know for a fact is going to be back in this because he's as much of a fanboy of Triple Triad as myself. He's asking whether there's going to be similar things like the element tiles that you would have in some modes of that, or some forms of that game, or whether you're going to introduce anything like that, I suppose, any sort of modifiers onto the game board at any point in the process.
Yeah, that's a great question actually. So, I mean, we're making a game as such that you can change it with different rule modifiers.
Okay.
The way we're approaching this is quite different actually. So rather than opening up and letting everyone use these rules, you basically start off with the basic rules, and then as your rank gets better and your skill gets better, you unlock the more advanced rules.
All right.
So this is obviously to allow everyone, to make it accessible for everyone, to allow everyone to sort of just get an understanding of how the core mechanics work. And for those that are really good, they will advance their skills really quickly and unlock the more advanced rules. So these rules, obviously, things like the same and a plus. We've actually created our own unique rules to the game, which we're going to introduce much later on in the game. And just to go back to your question, so we are potentially exploring further rules, the elemental rules that are found in Triple Triad.
Yeah.
Potentially, making certain rules available in certain zones as well that you're in.
Okay.
So if you're, for instance, if you're in, the Aeterna region, there may be certain rules you'll be able to use then if you have a particular rank, for instance, or things like that.
Gotcha. So that's pretty cool. That's an interesting addition to have into place. So again, almost spinning off of the Triple Triad, but it's still taking it in its own sense as well, which I like. I'm feeling that. And oh, nice! I get to steal a card now. Fantastic.
Doing pretty good actually. I've just been watching it.
Yeah, I mean, on and off. To be fair, when I was playing it last night, I was like, oh god, I'm going to make an embarrassment of myself. I think I lost about 4 in a row. I was like, oh god. But hey, we're getting there. We're learning. So the other thing as well I should probably put across as well is obviously for the purposes of the demo, it's randomized cards or a random set of cards. You will have the ability to build your own decks and so forth. And I suppose drawing upon that, like, are you going to have certain standardized decks, or are you going to have multiple ones that you can use, or are you going to have like an iteration of the horrific and evil random rule that we came across before, which no one likes?
I mean, I think John will probably give you some info about this, but one thing we want players to have is to be able to create their own little strategy decks. Okay. And so you have your total like card pool of all the cards you've been collecting, but what you can do is you can create sort of mini decks that cater for certain rules. So if you and I were playing and we wanted to use, I don't know, same plus, I might just have a deck specifically ready for those rules. I know certain strategies to use and things like that, for instance. I mean, John, did you want to add any more info on that?
No, you just said it perfectly, man. The only thing I would add to if we're talking about the rules is just talk about the gem rule, because we've also included our own another rule modifier which changes the way Triple Triad is played almost entirely. So instead of having numbers on each side of the card, they will be replaced by action gems. So you've got 1 gem which represents attack, 1 which represents defense, 1 for heal, and 1 for a special move. So so you can actually have your entire deck, or a lot of your deck played in this mode, because the cards, when they connect, they disappear from the board, and and where it says player 1 and player 2 at the bottom of the game, those will be replaced by a health bar, and this is where the RPG element comes in. So all of the armor, all the loot that you've been collecting in the overworld, they affect your stats. Gotcha. And affect how hard you hit, how well you can defend, how much health you can heal, that sort of thing. So it does become a lot more in depth than the original Triple Triad game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that's a level that I wasn't aware of before, and that sounds immediately a lot more engaging. You know, you're going to be building those decks, you're going to be building yourself up as well with your loot and your
Yeah.
armor and so forth, and it's going to make it a lot more of a true battle between people as well, which again, I think I've seen odd bits about that in other card games, but not that much. You know, not sort of actual battling whilst also being on that sort of grid in the same way. So again, yeah, another unique element there. And no Foom, no Mordor, unfortunately, no. Um, yes, Mordor is out, but no, we're here looking at this Kickstarter. Calm yourself, breathe. Um, okay, so let me quickly switch back over to the Kickstarter page as well. So you can see here at the top as well some of the accessorizing that you can do, even changing up the colours and so forth. You know, changing some of the equipment, the weapons and so forth that you carry as well. So you're going to have the ability to you know, like give yourself attack as well. So like on your turn, you'll be making damage of your own and different bits and pieces like that. Is that going to be in there as well?
Yeah, I mean, every card, every card and every piece of item you've got, they will all have a a special ability, depending on how powerful, obviously, the sword or the piece of armor you have. And then when you actually put those cards in place, you could do things like perhaps change every gem on the board into an attacking gem, thus making a massive combo and doing a hell of a lot of damage, or you know, doing something else where they would all be changed into you know, defense gems or health gems, things like that.
Awesome. And then I can see as well you've got kind of guild v guild stuff in here as well. So you'll have the ability to have a well, I can see here like a 4v4 sort of thing. I'm guessing that would be more on that gem-based combat because obviously having four people, or is it going to be like sort of teams?
Yeah.
Up to 5 players, you'll be able to use any of the rule plays in the rule modifiers in the game. And one of the things with this mode is if you're in a guild, instead of having wagering your cards, you actually get to wager a floor of your base. So in our game, we've got a guild system where the higher level your guild is, the more levels of your guild base you get to customize. So you can have a high level guild of like, I don't know, say 5 or 6 floors, customize each floor, you know, have things like sofas, pool tables, things like that, and spend a lot of time, you know, just having fun in it. And then when you go and play against another guild, you run the risk of losing one of those floors and that guild actually taking it and adding it to their own guild base.
Awesome. That's really interesting. So it seems to me that you guys have really done your research on like MMOs and seen the bits that people like and spun it off in your own way and yeah, like you know, like everything that you could possibly kind of look for in an MMO. I mean, player housing is something that's always been been a big deal. I mean, whether it be guild, whether it be overall, you know, like just your individual homes and so forth. There's always been that drive for that. So being able to sort of compete with your homes, that's really interesting. It's really unique.
It's just sort of just to add to the whole collectability aspect of this. You know, like, as John pointed out, you know, we wanted to just we want people to just sort of, you know, hang out in this game. You know, we want you to create a team or guild for you and your friends or for anyone else that you meet, and just, you know, have a place, you know, your base of operations in the world that you can just hang out and chill inside. You can decorate the place, you know, you can just really, and you can work together to try and solve, you know, some of the main scenario quests as well. Or if you guys just want to, you know, feel like causing havoc, you just go and try and take over another guild space by challenging them to the card game.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's just really interesting. I I really like that spin on it, and you know, this is probably going to be one of the places you might perhaps shine a little bit. We're talking about the microtransaction side of stuff, or like the in-game cash and so forth. So you've got Eminence coins as your in-game money, you know, that can be, from what I can gather, earned in-game, plus you can purchase.
Yeah, that's right. So, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, and so how much of a sort of swaying factor is the purchasing going to have with that, I suppose?
To be honest, you know, one thing we wanted to sort of, you know, the game is free to play, but we wanted to sort of stay away from that whole pay to win structure. You know, at the end of the day, we're all gamers and we're not really a fan of that model. So our ethos is we wanted to put the players first and offer like the best gaming experience possible. Mm-hmm. So with that, you can unlock every single reward and item without spending a penny. The reason why we used an in-game currency was sort of to stabilize the microtransactions. And even for people that do decide to purchase Eminence coins, that doesn't give you, you know, sort of a direct competitive advantage over the cards. You know, everything is purchased with these coins, you know, whether you get them from the marketplace or the NPC vendors in the open world, similar to an RPG. How the cards are distributed are based on probability. So if you imagine when you're a kid and you went to like your local store and you bought a pack of cards, you didn't really know what you'd get, you know. Yeah. But the chances are your probability will probably increase if you bought and opened a lot more packs at once.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is exactly how it works in Eminence, how the card distribution works in Eminence. And you get these packs, and you know, it's all based on probability. You don't know what you get. We wanted to sort of keep that excitement, the same excitement that you have from purchasing a trading card pack in the real world. You know, we wanted to bring this into the game. What the coins allow you to do is obviously you can purchase, if you have, the more coins you have, the more packs you can get, and you can increase your probability of trying to get, you know, rarer cards. But again, it's still based on probability. It doesn't really mean you're gonna get that card that you want. And as you pointed out earlier on as well, you can earn these coins by just completing various activities too. So you don't have to buy them. You can do your main scenario quests. You can, they'll be offered as prizes in the tournaments as well and things like that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's a lot of ability to pick those up. So would you say it's fair to say that it could potentially speed up your game process or progress, well, like the speed that you can progress, but it's not going to give you an edge necessarily? Is that kind of the way that it comes across? I mean, that's kind of how it feels to me. So
yeah, that's the idea of it. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to give people options. For those that, you know, don't want to pay, they can just play the game as normal and, you know, do what they want and earn the card packs by just doing the various activities. Yeah. You know, for those that do want to sort of speed up the aspect of, you know, getting multiple card packs and things, so they can use the coins to do that.
Yeah, that's it. So you've got the ability there. And another question fielded by one of our staffers actually here, Stu. Have you find it difficult? Find it? Oh God, English language would be fantastic if I actually knew how to speak it. Have you found it difficult to balance the difference between the microtransactions and earning them in game? Like, have you come across that yet, or is that still kind of in your testing process right now? Or
yeah, I mean, it's all part of just the ongoing research that we're doing. You know, we're paying a lot of attention into this area. You know, there's a lot of bad rap around free to play at the moment, with some companies taking it to the extreme, to the point that, you know, you can't even like play a game without paying.
Yeah, like there's no ability to progress unless you put your hand in your pocket, more or less.
And that's just an example of, you know, how it's not really been done properly. But, you know, we found examples of games, you know, it can be done properly, but I think the most important thing is just to keep the game experience at the core as a priority, and you don't want to ruin that. You know, at the end of the day, you want to create a lot of engagement with your players, and then sort of work around monetization around that aspect, but keep the game experience as the priority. So yeah, it has been. I mean, it has been sort of difficult to try and create the right structure. And I think it's something we're definitely going to try and continuously improve when the game is available through just testing and research.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And the other thing that I was going to do as well, and this is just me shilling on your behalf. Where the hell was that merch gone? Because I'm really quite tempted to just pick up some pieces of that ahead of release anyway. Because again, the design of the game, bloody hell, I can't find it now. But the designs that are used within the game are all so so unique. As soon as you said like the stained glass windows, I was like, oh yeah, I get it now. Like, yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Or like what I didn't realise that I was thinking, perhaps, I'm not sure. But yes, you've got the ability to already pick up the various designs of sort of posters and shirts and so forth, and I think that's possibly. I'm going to be introducing my wall of game behind me because I've realised I don't actually use my green screen, so I have a feeling it would look quite nice to have perhaps the main logo of the game popped in the middle there, so we may have to pick one of those up. Just to show off, So the other thing I was going to say, well, you've got your base game, you've got everything in there. Is it something where you're going to be looking to the community to provide you with more feedback on which direction you're going to move into further down the line, or are you going to have a more sort of set roadmap for yourselves? Obviously, you've already stated, you've got some parts already in place, some of the aspects of the game that you want to add in. But as far as expanding upon that, I mean, I know you've already got like what is one of your stretch goals, rather, a new division to have in place potentially. Are you going to base the additions around that community feedback, or is there more bits and pieces you've got in mind?
I think it's going to be a balance between the two. Like you said, we do have a roadmap, but we're going to continually have we're going to continually ask our community on every stage of where we're at, just to get their feedback on the game, because they're the people that are going to be playing it. So we wanted to make it as good for the game for them as it would be for us,
Yeah, absolutely, it makes sense. And there you go. Like you've already had your first pledge from Stuart. There's popped 50 quid towards it.
So, thanks a lot, Stuart. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
If nothing else, you've earned 50 quid between you this evening. Well done. Oh no, actually, screw it. It's gone up a bit since we started. So
Really?
I assume there's a couple of people that have dipped down in the pocket. I haven't yet. I was waiting to see if he was still as nice over the phone before I went and did it. I'm still no. To be honest, I'm still trying to decide what tier to go for. I kind of want the next one up, but But obviously, we're going to continue to promote yourselves through the next 7 days or so, towards the end of the Kickstarter there. And I know there's certainly other people in the community that are going to be very interested to take a closer look at this, that might not have been able to make it at a reasonably short notice. We kind of whipped this together in about an hour or so. So I suppose we've kind of covered most of the majority of what we wanted to, or I wanted to get across to yourselves. But finally, what is driving you guys to require the Kickstarter itself? Because obviously, I get it. You guys have been working effectively 2 jobs the whole way through, plus sticking the Kickstarter on top. And there you go, King Foom has just offered to feature this on his channel as well. That man right there is the reason that I got into this business in the first place. Far bigger reach. I will put you guys in contact after we finish speaking here. Absolute behemoth and god of Twitch.
Nice.
Amazing.
So
make it happen.
So yeah, I will link you guys up later. Much love to Foom, always. But yes, thank you, Fame, for that offer there, good sir. Yes, so words. What was I saying? Yes, so yeah, so you know you're running your two jobs side by side. So the Kickstarter itself, is it going to allow you guys to just focus solely on the game project, or is it so you can get extra bits and pieces or people involved for the project? What is your actual driving force for putting the Kickstarter in place?
Well, I think when I speak on behalf of the guys, the initial plan was to raise enough money so we can spend, work on it full time, I think, for everyone. But with that being said, what we wanted to do was, have a base that would allow us to still, be efficient while working on this game. So our initial funding would just allow us to, delegate some of the work, bring on some extra resources, so like some extra dev hands and some design hands, just to speed up the overall development of the game, so we could at least release quicker or earlier than planned.
Yeah, gotcha. Because the sooner the better, right? I mean, I think I can speak for a fair few people that are currently watching this and probably will be watching this after we've popped it up on the YouTube later tonight and the articles and so forth. There's people that are going to be going, come on, when? So I think we're all reasonably keen to be getting our hands on it and having a play around. But that's fantastic. I mean, is there anything else that you guys feel that I haven't asked and you would really like to put out there? And I am more than happy to open this up as a stage for you guys to just be like, oh my god, we're amazing, you should definitely check out this. Like this is an open stage for you guys to promote yourselves as much as you want, really.
I think we should. I don't know, John. Do you think we should probably talk about the whole the two part stuff about the game?
Oh yeah, that's our long term goal.
So okay, I think we haven't really shared this much, but I think we've only started doing. It might be worth just maybe filling you guys in. So
go on, give us a little tease. Go on, we don't mind it.
Tease. So as you know, I mean, the story itself is quite big and it's quite not complex, but there's a lot to it. As a result of this, what we did is we actually split the story into 2 games.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So what you're seeing now is the first title, the first part of that story, but the other part as well is planned in the second game, a follow-up to this, which will be a pure, role-playing game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we have thought we've thought it out that far. But
yeah, you got further than this evening. I'm liking the sound of it.
So the idea is sort of by playing this game, you're going to learn a lot of things about the ecosystem of the world, its history, all these characters, and using that knowledge, that knowledge will help carry you over onto the second part of the game, which is a continuation, essentially. But yeah, I mean, the second one is definitely going to be badass. So that's something.
Yeah, I like it. I like the modesty. It's nice. No, that sounds really interesting. Like it's kind of blown my mind open an entire extra layer. So no, that sounds absolutely awesome. So guys, even more reason to make sure these guys get pushed on their Kickstarter to make sure that this first step happens, because I'm excited enough about this, but for it to then tie into something further along the line, that sounds awesome. So, I mean, I suppose expanding upon that a little without giving anything away, I mean, are you going to be bringing parts of this across into that game? Like, say you're, I don't know, super duper master of cards and you can absolutely sort of blink at something and you cleared a board with a single card. Are you going to be able to bring aspects of that across, like some kind of super duper armor, or?
I think that's definitely something that we'll explore. We've seen lots of games nowadays that do a similar sort of thing. You know, like with Mass Effect and all the way since from Shenmue, they used to
Yeah, of
get
course.
your old save file and you could continue your story along. So that's definitely something that we plan to do. Once you reach that stage, like that's a long way away.
Of course, of course. But you got me excited now. Come on, you know. So maybe you shouldn't have told me. I'm going to keep bugging you about it now. No, but that does sound really, really interesting. Like that's again, as I say, hopefully providing our guys with a lot of drive to push you guys even further and faster along the road. Oh, look, of course. Oh no, okay. I thought I'd gotten a 3-star victory there. I was going to say, of course I get it now rather than on the show floor. No entry into the competition for me, fine, even though I've got proof. But yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. It sounds very, very interesting. So again, you know, I hate to sort of broach the topic because you don't kind of want to jinx it, but let's say it all goes a bit Pete Tong and we don't get the. I like that. That's going to go across really well to our American viewers, isn't it? Pete Tong, who the hell's that? You know, say it goes a little bit pear-shaped and we don't quite get there with the Kickstarter. What have we made contingency plans? Are we still going to see a version of this somewhere along the lines?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's just as we said earlier on amongst each other, you know, the Kickstarter is not the be or end all. We have made contingency plans to just keep going forward with development. The main purpose of obviously being on Kickstarter is just, you know, if we do get what we need, it will just help release earlier. But
Yeah.
if we don't get it, then our plan is just to explore other options to allow us to raise funding to bring that game earlier. Otherwise, it's just we carry on working the way we are. It just means a longer release date.
Yeah, absolutely, and nobody wants that.
Yes.
Most of all me, as I say, childishly excited about a game that's not even out yet. That seems to be the story of my life. You know, you go to all these preview events and whatever else, and it's like, oh god, there's going to be another 6 months down the line. Forever waiting for tomorrow. But no, that's fantastic. And as I said, like, is there anything else you guys want to add? Want to throw out there? Any bits and pieces you can kind of promise across for ourselves? You know, what other bits and pieces can we expect from you down the line?
Well, we always update update very, very regularly. Like even before our Kickstarter campaign, we were doing sort of, you know, bi-weekly, weekly updates for the people following us. So just keep tell your friends, you know, spread the word, keep following us, and you'll find out all the latest news on Eminence.
Yeah, that's it. So you know, you guys know what to do with that. You know, you know what needs to be done, guys. We need to get these guys funded. That's the bottom line. You know, I don't often get this excited about different games and whatever else. So yeah, it definitely needs to be done. But yes, I will again slam in this delightful Kickstarter link into the chat. You guys need to be hitting that up. You need to be checking this out. It's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. And by pretty cool, I mean, no, seriously, it's cool. Go now, click. But yes, all I can say then really is thanks for dropping by again. I know this was very short notice. We arranged this all of well, about less than 24 hours ago. So thank you again for coming at very short notice. We'll be keeping tabs on you. So don't do anything too shifty. No, keeping tabs on you as the Kickstarter progresses over the next week or so. And I shall certainly be backing it myself shortly after we get off this call. You guys, yeah, you know what needs to be done. This will be going straight up onto YouTube once we're done. And again, we'll be sharing that out as well. So again, guys, thank you for coming along. And you know, if what we'll do as well, we'll keep in touch very closely as well. So if there's any further support we can offer, we certainly will. And I'll get you hooked up with the fantastical King Fu as well. See if we can do something in the next few days for you as well with him.
Sounds awesome.
Cool.
Awesome,
Thanks,
awesome, awesome.
Thanks for having us.
No,
Yeah.
no, thank you for coming along. As I say, I was instantly very excited about this game as soon as I saw it. So again.